It's June 3rd, 2020, and today we have Jay Stein, CEO of Dream Hotel Group. Strap in, let's get ready. Hey everybody, welcome to the show for today. I'm, of course, Glenn Hausman. Anthony Melchiori will be joining us shortly. He is out and about, just a little bit delayed, but I said, hey, let's get going because we've got one of my favorite people in the business here. And, of course, I'm talking about Mr. Jay Stein, CEO of Dream Hotel Group. Jay, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing these days during quarantine? I hope that after all the stress that we've all been going through, you've been able to find some sort of level of peace and strength to get you through this time.
Yeah, look, it's been rough, no doubt. Yeah. I'm used to doing lots of stuff and traveling a lot and living a very high-paced lifestyle. So for me to be working out of my home for so many days and months now is unique. But I've been a little difficult to admit this, but
right,
it's been nice to be in my home that I set up really nice the way I like it and virtually have no time to enjoy it. When I do get home, normally my wife doesn't want to be home because she's home more often than not. So
right,
we're either running away to go away for the weekend or traveling or.
So now it's nice. Neither of you want to be home anymore. So you have something in common, and that's what keeps a marriage strong, everybody. But yeah, Jay, I got to tell you, you traveled so much more than I do, but I was still on the road typically 100+ nights a year, and I got so used to it. But once everything stopped and we got through that period of stress and panic, and there seemed to be a little bit of a stabilization, I found more peace and calm than I've had in a long time. And this period of time for me has kind of been like, I always wanted to be able to take a sabbatical, like if I was a professor in a college and take a semester off. That's really what this feels like to me. Good chance to rethink, reset, and restructure everything that we feel is really important these days.
Yeah, I haven't had that luxury. My days have been packed.
Yeah.
I get into my home office at 8 o'clock, and I typically go to 7:30 at night with not much of a break. So it's kind of the same, volume and hectic day. But I do get to, walk out into the backyard or to my deck and take a nice walk every evening. But yeah, I haven't had the time to just sit back and think about new concepts and new ideas. We've been very busy and lots of fires to put out.
I'm sure. So the early part of this was all about mitigating and understanding what the crisis was. It's got to have been, because it is for everybody, the most significant moment in your entire career. What do you think about at that particular moment? Because that's when you really need to step up and be a leader. What was that whole realization and process like for you?
I had a lot of experience, being in the industry for as long as I have and going through a lot of difficult times, and the stock market crash of '87 and the very difficult times in New York City managing hotels in the early '90s. The markets were very difficult. And of course, September 11th, which, financially is not as big an impact as this is turning out to be, but I still found that to be a much more tragic and difficult situation to deal with than this one. From my perspective.
Interesting. What was the defining difference for you, and what makes this period of time different from that terrible period of time?
For me, that one was, the day it happened, I was in New York. So, when it first happened, the angst inside, the fear, I was never scared in my life, ever. I never fought a war or anything like that. So I was just overtaken by fear, really, for about 3 or 4 days. And one of my senior guys in the company that worked mainly in the UK at one point, I came into a meeting towards the end of that first week, and I told him I was really struggling. And he said, look, you only have 2 options, either be part of the solution or give up.
Right.
And it just hit home. It was such a clear, those are the only 2 things I had. Either I could just crumble, and fade away and not be part of the solution, or just, hey, I'm healthy, I'm still here. A lot of people died on that day, but I'm here. And from that moment, my mind was clear, and I was ready to fight, and I was ready to just give it all I got to move our company forward and the country forward, and be part of the solution. So Fortunately, we bounced back very quickly. Even New York, which was devastated by January, 3-4 months later, we were back up to reasonable occupancies, and in a very short time, we were screaming. The industry was screaming right through 2008. So it was a very busy time. We're here; it's very different. I'm not scared. It wasn't scary that way, but the impact financially is much bigger, and the light at the end of the tunnel is not very clear. Still not.
Right. Especially for you and your business, where you have so many hotels in so many urban centers, which are the ones that seem to be particularly pinched right now. You've had a lot of closures and you're just starting to get through that. So what's kind of the state of your brand right now with hotels being open or in the process of reopening?
Yeah, so we've got some open, some closed. Some have been open all along. Some have reopened, and some have been closed all along. And we're trying to figure out how to get those properties open. The New York City hotels, one is open that we have, and the rest are still closed. And we're working on dates. I don't see anything real quick. Maybe in the next 3-4 weeks, we get one or more of the hotels open in New York, but still not positive. It's just very tricky here, and as you know, the city really hasn't opened. It's supposed to start going to phase one next Monday, and but we'll see. The demand coming back in has been zero. You may see that the hotels in New York City are running 30 to 40% occupancy, and about more than 50% of all the hotels, probably over 250 to 300 hotels, are open, running 30 to 40%. But the reality is, I think over 90% of those numbers are first responders and homeless business, which is not business that we chose to work with, and the other demand is still negligible. Hollywood is also still a little hazy on when we will get back open, but that may happen in the next couple of weeks. South Beach, Miami looks like a couple of weeks will be open. Durham is open, Nashville's open, Nyack is open, and one of our properties in Manhattan.
Right. So listen, Jay, we've been talking a lot about, cleaning regimens and all of that kind of stuff. I know at Dream Hotel Group, you're putting measures into place, right? So I don't think we need to talk about that specifically, but customers are going to be acting a little bit weird, a little bit different. So how have you been thinking about making sure that they feel comfortable other than making sure you're cleaning in front of their faces?
Yeah, so we'll have masks available for them if they want them, or if they choose to use them. We'll recommend that they do. We will tell them we will take temperature for our employees, so it's not something that's mandated in most of the markets that we're in, but we will do that. We'll post this information on our websites.
Oh, cool.
For our health and safety, as well as some frequently asked questions for each individual market. So yeah, we won't always follow just the minimum. We're going to do a number of things, just specific for Dream Hotel Group that we think are just the best practice and institute it. And we'll also do some things fun, as the way our brand is. So, our masks may not just be your typical paper mask, and they may have some fun aspects to them, or some marketing aspects.
Right.
To them.
So that's interesting. So you're taking the idea of the crisis, something we all have to deal with, and instead of taking the approach of we have to take this super seriously, as people get a little bit more comfortable, you're going to feel comfortable being able to have little winks and nods and turn that around into being a brand advantage. That's super creative thinking and interesting. And I'd like to see a little bit more of us get past that fear stage into practically dealing with this temporary reality that we're entering into.
Yeah, and look, no one knows the exact answer. You've got to find what's the right voice for the brand in these kinds of times. I've been telling a lot of people, hopefully, 90% of the people have been staying home for 6, 8, 10 weeks. And I would imagine 99% of those people are free of the virus. And hopefully, as they come back into the world, they're wearing masks in public areas and dense areas, and they're social distancing, and they're using hand sanitizer, all things that we probably were not doing 10 weeks ago.
Right.
So even if there is some uptick with all these things that are being implemented and all these people eventually coming back that we did not have the virus when they come back in, hopefully that really allows us to launch with a a safe environment, and I'm confident that will be the case.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be the case, and that's a thing. And as you folks out there are watching this, I'm actually in two places at once. I'm in an airplane right now, flying through Seattle to get to Las Vegas. A little topsy turvy kind of way to do it, but I'm getting back out there. I'm getting ready to do my thing, and I know that I'm going to be safe because I have trust in brands like the airline that I'm flying and with at the Bellagio at MGM, because I've talked to the people that are actually going to be doing the cleaning of these things. And I know they're great professionals that understand what's at stake. So because you and all of your industry brethren out there have taken all of those proactive steps to make sure they have the right things in line, I think that we're all going to feel better pretty quickly. I think it's a matter of, Jay, just kind of walking in, having that arrival experience and getting over that hump. And I bet after the first 10, 15 minutes, is people are going to start to feel normal again.
Right. But the tough thing on our type of properties, and, it's not just a matter of getting checked in and getting to a clean room and staying for 2 days and checking out. Half of our business comes from food and beverage and nightlife, and those areas are tougher to do what we normally do by social distancing.
Right. I mean, that's antithetical to the whole point of nightlife and bars, where people want to come together. So have you thought about how you're going to maneuver that tricky road?
Yeah. So fortunately, we do have a fair amount of outdoor spaces, and we're going to take full advantage of those and maximize the use of those, but by still, keeping distance. We won't have stand-up, initially, we won't have stand-up bar type activities. There'll be more, seating down, which is still a good vibe, a lot better than, having a cocktail hour with your friends on Zoom.
Right.
It'll be much nicer to at least come to a rooftop and get a table that's reserved and be out and overlooking and getting a great cocktail and some great food and, being with your own party, which you're comfortable with, and distance from other people. So yeah, we thought a lot about that, and as you know, we put a lot of emphasis in our pools and in our rooftops and in our restaurants, especially the outdoors. We're going to try and take advantage, and areas that were maybe just a pool before will now become a pool and restaurant in the evening. We set tables around it, so the indoor section of the restaurant may not be used as much. So a lot of that going on.
So I'm seeing that you're turning these challenges into potential opportunities for you. So that is something that's really important that we all need to think about, is how we can have those opportunities in the future. So you actually have opportunities in the future. You guys are developing new hotels. That hasn't stopped, which is pretty interesting. And one of the highlights that I got to be honest that I've seen, Jay, is that I've gotten a couple of announcements that you have new projects that you've recently announced. How awesome is that to be able to close deals in a time like this?
Yeah, and I think it sounds like crazy who's doing deals, but these deals don't happen in 2 weeks' time. These are deals that we've been working on for sometimes months and sometimes even a year long, working on these deals. So they just happen to come at the timing of when COVID was happening. But these are deals that are well financed. The owners have been working on them for a lot longer than we have. But they've been talking to sign a deal with our brand or different brands for some period of time. And the timing of negotiating the hotel management agreement and the technical service agreements, these were just the times when it happened. But their plan, again, they're not looking at an horizon of 3 months.
Right.
These are projects that are going to get built for 2 years or 3 years. So, these are real developers, and they're not focused on the short term. So I'm not really surprised that we are getting these things done. And all the deals that we have signed, even before COVID, none of those have stopped. That part of my business is going on as much as it has before. Those teams are fully activated and busy and working very hard. As well, the business development teams are out there signing deals.
Right.
And as you say, we've announced a number of deals recently. So it sounds funny, but it really makes a lot of sense.
No, it really does. It does make a lot of sense. But at the surface of it, you're absolutely right, Jay. It is counterintuitive. But here's something that I got intuition about. The prodigal co-host returns. Anthony Melchiori. How are you, sir?
How are you, my friend? And I was listening to what Jay was saying, and interesting times, my friend. And but it's good to see that things are still happening.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And at this point, producer Jeff asked me to make it really clear that we would like to bring up some images. So Jeff, if you could ready those backstage and let me know when you're ready, we could bring those on. We're gonna take a look at Anthony at some of the properties that he's been doing, and let's see. There we go. Boom. All right. So this is in Peru. Is that right, Jay?
Tulum.
Oh, Tulum. Mexico. Hey, I don't know how to look at notes. Thank you, Jay.
This is Los Amigos, part of the new collection brand that we recently launched by Dream Hotel Group and Los Amigos by Dream Hotel Group. It's 3 different projects within the same complex. So very exciting.
Excellent. Next one. So, also the same property, Anthony.
That's correct.
You were going to say, Anthony?
I was going to say I spent some time in Tulum at that hotel that had the little birdhouse at the restaurant that you go in. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've been there myself.
How far is that from this property?
Probably about a mile. We're maybe I don't know, 5-minute bike ride off the beach, back off from the beach.
Have you been down to the caves?
Yes.
Very cool, right? Very cool.
Amazing.
All right.
Been a few times.
All right. Next slide, please.
So this is Emma and Alyssa. This is also from by Dream Hotel Group, our collection brand, new collection brand. And this is in Playa del Carmen.
That looks
right
awesome.
in the heart of the city, beachfront property.
That's beautiful. Next one, Jeff.
And I think that's the looking at from behind.
The front door.
Yep, coming in off the street.
All right, I want to see some of these new hotels. Jeff, if we could get to the next one. I think we're going to see oh, nope. Next one after this one.
Nope. So this is Turks and Caicos.
Oh, Turks and Caicos. Oh, that looks really great.
Which side of the island? Which side of the island?
This is in near Grace Bay, right next to where the Gansevoort was.
Wow.
So this is a project we known as The Bite. It's the neighborhood is called The Bite, BIGHT. A local development group, 90 rooms. And this is the 3rd project by Dream Hotel Group, all signed over the last number of months. So that brand is really starting to take off.
Hey, Anthony, why don't we go physical distance over there together, right?
I think, amazing. All these years, Jay's never invited me. and just so you know, I know I've mentioned this to Jay last time we spoke, but he's the 2nd guest in a week that has not given me a job when I asked for a job. Just so you know.
Are you serious?
Can we stop? Can we stop with guests that didn't give me a job, please? Thank you.
And if any of you out there have not given Anthony a job in the past, drop me a line. Let's get you booked on the show immediately.
Hey, Glenn, we should do a show with all people that didn't give Anthony a job.
I love that. A whole panel. We can all tell you why we don't like you, Anthony. All right. Next picture, please. So finally, I think we've arrived. Cleveland. How much does that rock? Ha. Anyway, tell us a little bit about what we could expect in Cleveland.
So Cleveland is going to be there was an original building from the 1920s, an historic Masonic temple, where this group called Temple Live, and they're looking to take over different Masonic temples in other parts of the country, including in Tulsa, and then building a hotel next to those original buildings. And combining the live music with the hotel, so it's about a 200-room hotel, a lot of public space. Obviously, in the Masonic Temple part of the building, I think it's about a 3,200 seat live music venue, and then a lot of other space as well that we'll be working on activating.
Great. Next slide, please, so we can see another angle. That's pretty cool.
So you see the original building there, the low Masonic Temple.
I love that because the difference is the juxtaposition of the older building with a real modern structure just really rings nicely. And I think that plays with the whole thematic of the rebirth that Cleveland has gone through over the last 20 years as well.
Right. And it's also in conjunction with where we're seeing Dream now starting to come into other cities other than just the main coastal cities. And then a lot of these other, cities in Middle America have great downtown vibes, a good community atmosphere, and perfect for our brand to be there.
Beautiful. And I think next we got Vegas. So when's Vegas going to come, my friend? You just recently announced that. I'm like, I'm going there tomorrow. Can you get it open for me by then?
Not by tomorrow, but a couple of years. The cool thing about this site, as you can see, it's the first hotel you'll see from the Vegas sign. I remember driving from Colorado to to Las Vegas, I think when I was 19, and on a straight drive right through and seeing that sign for the first time. And that's a lot of people, that's their vision of what Las Vegas is and driving into the city. So it's it's a very short, it's about a 10-minute walk to the new Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders are going to be playing, right across the street from the golf course where Mandalay Bay is.
I have been looking. Oh, sorry, Anthony. Go ahead.
So when that's built, if I'm standing at the sign, is that an actual view of what I'll be seeing, or is that kind of superimposed a little bit to get the sign of Vegas in?
No, that's the actual view.
Wow.
Man, I got to tell you, Jay, the day that I heard about that deal, I thought about how for years and years and years when I'm in Mandalay Bay and looking across the street and going, that empty piece of land is still sitting there. And I'm so excited that your group got access to it.
And how long and how much pain was that?
Well, as you know, we're not the developer, but we've been working with them probably close to a year now but they would be working on it even longer. It's right across the street from the airport. So there was a number of months of trying to get the approvals to build that close to McCarran Airport.
Who's the developer?
What's the name of the developer?
Yeah,
I'm drawing a blank, but I think I've got it here in my notes.
How many rooms is the hotel?
Bill Shopoff is the owner, but I'm drawing a blank on.
Okay, who's the owner? That's what I really meant. Who's the owner?
Yeah, Bill Shopoff is the developer.
Okay, and how many rooms is it?
It's 450 rooms.
And how big is the casino?
Casino is small. It's probably around 20,000, 25,000. But so we're trying to do something, very different. We're not going to be your typical Las Vegas hotel with 450 rooms and a 25,000 square foot casino. So it's going to be much more of a boutique hotel and a boutique casino. You're not going to have slot machines ringing and dinging, and this is going to be designed by a real designer. It's not going to look like your typical gaming floor. This is going to be the modern view of where a modern lifestyle traveler with visions of what a casino should be. So still a lot of fun, a lot of action, but not what you're, I've been going to Vegas since my dad was taking me back in the early 60s. And,
wow.
Not a lot has changed, when you get on a casino floor. It's uniforms made out of polyester and, the typical look and, the Cosmopolitan,
right.
Probably did the most different, but this is.
And
really
I'll tell you, Jay, some of the resorts, it looks like none of the dealers or servers have changed either since the place is open. But that's just great that those people get to keep their jobs. All right, next picture, producer Jeff.
So that looks like San Antonio.
Yeah, that looks beautiful.
Right on the Riverwalk, 220 keys. Great local developer. He's doing the Thompson right now.
Wow.
Really putting before the end of this year at the Thompson, and then building the Dream probably into 2022.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's right on Riverwalk, right there. That's right on the river right there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's part of a mixed-use complex. He's got an office building as well.
So when you look at a hotel like this, how difficult is it because there's so many brands trying to vie for hotels, and you're a very unique brand, truly unique. Like, how difficult is it to convince an owner that Dream is the group to go with? Like I would imagine each deal is more challenging or less challenging than another deal. But like this specific deal, did they just come to you, or was it you really had to work hard to get that deal?
So, any good group knows where hotels are being developed. And so my development team reached out to the owner. He knew of Dream, but, wasn't totally hooked initially. And then we spent time with him. He came to New York, got to see all of our operations here. He came to the opening party with the chain smokers at Dream Nashville, got to spend the weekend there and see exactly how we open a hotel. And not long thereafter, he said, you know what? You are the guys I want to go with. And that's really been the formula for us. People come in, they may have heard of us. We reach out to them. Until they get to see us, to see our operations, get to see our staff, our employees, kind of that secret sauce of what we do on operations. And we often tell them, just go without telling us. Just, don't let us make the reservation. Go in and just experience it for yourself. And then you tell me if it seems like it's what's the type of vibe you would want for your property.
So getting back to what we've been talking about for weeks and months, it's about relationships. It's like these big glitzy hotels in these fancy locations with all this money at stake comes down to you having a cup of coffee and saying, "Hey, let me show you around." That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and look, when you work with our group, you meet me, you meet my whole creative team, and that's the team that works on your project till the day it's open. And I'm taking calls from owners, that met me back before they ever got a shovel in the ground, and now they're up and running, and they're not talking to anyone different. And they love that, the people that they thought they were going to work with are the people they actually stay involved in the deal all the way through. And that's, that's
but you don't tell them that you didn't give me a job, right? Because that would be bad for your brand.
All right, maybe good actually. I don't know that.
No, it's just great to see you. It's always great to see you, my old friend.
Hey, Anthony, just so you know, we've only got a couple more minutes left with Jay, but I'm going to let you keep asking the question since you missed the earlier part.
But first, you're going to interrupt me. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I had to interrupt you to tell you that we're going to have to interrupt you. Come on.
He's so smooth, Anthony.
How's your daughter? Is she still in California?
My daughter's still in California. Yeah, she's in LA, and she's doing great. She's doing great. Thank you.
Thank God. That was all I had, Glenn. You couldn't.
I'm so glad I interrupted you for all that riveting conversation.
You know what? No, now that you said that, I'm gonna talk to my friend Jay.
Good. I'm glad.
Could you imagine back in the day when you were in that small office in that small hotel that this would be the hotel business? This hotel business didn't exist when you and I knew each other back in the day when we were coming up. This didn't exist. This wasn't real. Like, could you ever imagine it? Did you ever see it? Like, when did you realize, like, when did you step into and realize, okay, I'm in a real hotel business right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I never really thought about it like that. But I always tell people my career growth, it was kind of like a Ouija board. I would put my hands on it, and I wouldn't force it where I wanted to go, but I kind of let it go where it went. And unless I saw something that was really wrong, I was just going to ride it out and keep going where it took me.
And that's a testament to you, because most people don't stay with a group that long. That's really a testament. And back in the day, you've had your challenges, and there's not, a lot of people wouldn't have lived through those challenges. So it's just fantastic. And to see what you've done and to see, the seeds you planted and where they're coming. And again, to bring somebody through one of your properties in Nashville and them to put all this money into your group and say, we trust you. I mean, that doesn't happen, again, over a cup of coffee. That happens after a 30-year career and you building the right team and being with the right owner. So just always a testament to you, my brother.
And, it feeds off each other. Glenn was asking, it's amazing that you're getting deals done in this, crazy environment that we're in. But, these are people with long-term visions. They're not stopping everything, thinking the world's coming to an end. They've got plans. We were working on these deals for months. They were negotiated. They were time to get executed, and they got executed. And they're going to open 2.5 years from now, and COVID's going to be, something we talk about in the history books. And, they're going to go on. And our industry is only 5,000 years old. It's not going away. It may change a bit, and this is certainly going to be a huge impact. I was telling Glenn earlier that, I don't think I've ever gone through something that is this unclear about what is the path to get back to normal. And when you hear the brilliant people, the Arnie Sorensens and the other great leaders saying, we don't know if it's 2022, 2023, 2024, that's a long time, man.
Yeah. When I've known people very high up in the C-suite of Marriott getting packages, not only getting their layoff, but getting the package saying, okay, everybody gets a package. Who wants to take it? That day that happened last week, and you guys know what I'm talking about. That literally, like, ice went through my veins. I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary. We're planning to go through it and come out on the other side. Fortunately, we've got a great owner. He's got deep pockets, but they're not, forever deep. And we're hurting already. So to go through months more like this is going to be difficult. I assume we're in for some good luck somewhere over the next few months. And, I've seen New York bounce back really quickly and other cities bounce back quickly from devastating events. hopefully it's either the vaccine or we just know it's gone, and the pent-up demand is more pent-up than we thought it would be. To me, the key is airlines. If people will get on airlines, the fact that Glenn's getting on one later today, and I know 2 people that flew this week that never would have flown 2 weeks earlier. And I think once people, they'll be concerned initially getting on it, but as more people get on airlines, they'll get to places where they need rooms to stay, and that's when they'll start filling up our rooms and get that.
And I know we need to move on, but being a musician, have you written a song about this situation yet?
No, I stopped writing a number of years ago. I just play in a sleazy cover band. That's all.
But don't tell me you haven't been somewhere in your home sitting there and some words for a song for this has not gone through your head. Come on.
I got a lot of stuff going through my head these days.
All right, so that's probably a good place to end it. But Jay, we'd like to end each of our segments with something positive. Maybe you could share a positive thought and all of that kind of stuff before we send you on your way.
Yeah, look, I've been doing this for a long time. When this first started, this version of it, I told my team, look, when you're in the middle of these things, you think it's never going to end.
Yep.
And it feels like, you were the cause of it, or you're not doing enough to make it better. And that's just not the case. We'll end.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't bring it on. And all you could do is be part of that solution to get us through to the other side. All of my team members took cuts in pay, pretty big cuts in pay. And I felt terrible asking them to do it. But, we have to come up with ways to try and make the money last and get us back up to being a profitable company again. So it's a long road ahead of us. But again, when you're in the middle of it, it just looks like it's forever. And then when you're out on the other side and you look back and you go, wow, I can't believe I was so consumed in all that. I couldn't even really function because I was so worried about it. And I just want them to understand, don't worry about that part. We'll get through that. Just focus, do the best quality work you can do, be part of the solution that gets us through it, be creative, and we'll get
there. Well, I'll tell you something. Back in the day, if you did hire me, I'd be very proud to be standing next to you.
Jay Stein, CEO of Dream Hotel Group. Thank you so much for being here. Hope to see you again real soon. Woo, man. Love Jay Stein. Such a great guy. I mean, I love that all these CEOs are coming on and talking to us and being so straightforward and honest. It's really amazing to me.
And again, you know Jay from Jay Stein now. I knew Jay back in the day, and telling you, I couldn't have survived.
Yeah, right? All right. So I think it's time for us to just get right to it, right? Don't you think? We got another guest coming on this show, so let's bring him in. Greg Chase, CEO of Experience Strategy Associates.
Brother?
What's up, guys?
Hey, man.
Trailer?
Do what? No, I'm sitting in Vegas.
I said, yeah, but where's the trailer you've been running around with?
Oh, I got rid of it. I just finished the 4-day RV trip, and I'll tell you that the air conditioner in that RV did not do well in 120-degree Arizona heat. So I'm back at home air conditioning for now.
Where it's only 108 degrees. Good for you.
Yeah, it was wild. It was hot.
Yeah, real hot. All right. So Anthony is vanished. I guess he couldn't take the heat. Sorry. I apologize for that. I'm actually getting my camera all messed up there as well. And he's back.
Now, it's funny. For some reason, when a new guest comes on, sometimes your mic, I can't hear you. So when I reset it, I can hear you.
Huh. That's strange. But I'm sure Apple will continue to claim that it's not a problem.
So tell us about your little excursion running around your Winnebago.
Yeah.
Well, before you do that, could you tell us who you are and what you do so our audience understands? All this Winnebago talk is going to send us to #1 in all the charts, but we got to know who you are.
I thought you talked about that while I was dark. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I was just making a bad joke.
We thought you were doing a magic trick. It's all good. No, so I started my career at Disney, actually, in Orlando, in food and beverage, hotel operations. Worked there for a good 5 years and transitioned out to Vegas and spent almost a decade at MGM Resorts here in Vegas. Most recently, was the corporate VP overall customer experience strategy globally for MGM. which was a remarkable job. Got to play with some of the greatest assets in the world and create just incredible experiences for folks. And about a year ago, decided to start my own consulting practice. So Experience Strategy Associates came to life. Now working, have a couple of my former colleagues as strategic advisors working with me, but now we're doing this for more organizations, more companies now, helping really craft and curate meaningful experiences, employee engagement strategies, customer feedback strategies, you name it.
And if that career in that business is more needed now than ever.
That's what we've been noticing too. And frankly, while there may be businesses operating without revenue at the moment, I think we've seen it as our mission to go and just bring some data to the forefront to help our industry and help folks make decisions when they don't have the team or the resources to go, figure out how to help craft a strategy. Now's the time to just give back to the industry and help all of our colleagues out.
And that leads us to the Winnebago.
That's where the Winnebago came. So yeah, I needed to, I'm used to traveling weekly every other week. So it's been very difficult for me being at the house. So decided to rented an RV. And one of my former colleagues, Lily Tomovich, who was the CMO, CXO at MGM, her and I were talking on the phone. She goes, well, it sounds like you should go do a cruising through COVID road tour. I'm like, you know what? I was just going to go camp out somewhere for 4 days, but this is brilliant. So I took the RV on a cruising through COVID road tour, stopped in Southern Nevada, Arizona, a bunch of newly opened casinos, restaurants, shopping malls, and brought back pictures, insights, observations to try to help our fellow colleagues out that are getting ready.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, and this is very general, it's not scientific, but a scale of 1 to 10, you go, well, this person out there, 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Generally, how'd they do?
Everything together, I would say 7 or 8. I think the items that were opportunities were certainly low-hanging fruit. It wasn't, it wasn't a crash and burn by any means. Again, I think everyone's passionately putting every ounce of energy they can into making sure people feel comfortable, feel safe, and they're genuinely trying to do it. It's just nuance that sometimes we forget, that we overlook or forget about what perception may be.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of customer forgiveness right now too, as we're trying to figure everything out. So it's really important to have both sides of those equations, so we can all help each other figure out what to do next, right?
What's impressive though too is, while there is a lot of customer forgiveness, I think people forget, especially your loyal customer base, like your customer wants to be a part of the process with you. Mm-hmm. Like one of the observations I had, there were, you didn't see the cleaning crew, the EVS, the custodial team, as frequently as maybe you would have liked. So at that point in time, you've published your cleaning plan, you've published your reopening plan. Why not just give everyone individually wrapped Lysol wipes when they walk in and allow the customer to wipe down what they want to wipe down, when they want to wipe it down? They'll feel better and they're helping you clean and they have no problem doing it.
Right. That's not to say you shouldn't already have it clean, but it's adding a layer of it's adding a layer of control for the guest experience, so they could feel more engaged in the process.
Yeah, and also if you made the decision to go, you have to take the responsibility to keep yourself safe. And if you have a houseman cleaning down everything, you can't have a houseman standing at the elevator button. All right, you go. All right, you go. So you have to take responsibility, and I can't agree with you more.
Well, that was the interesting part about retail. So I stopped at the Phoenix Premium Outlets because I wanted to see what an opening mall environment looked like. And as you look down one row of retailers, everyone had their doors closed because I also know it was 120 degrees. But Under Armour stood out to me because they had a whole safety concierge standing there opening the door handle for you because they knew you wouldn't want to touch the door handle. It's because everyone's been so paranoid about surfaces and whatnot that it was brilliant. It was well executed, and they spritzed your hand with hand sanitizer as you walked in. I thought it was well done.
Right. That's and that's, again, it gives you, like you said, then you can go shop and not think about anything else. I went into my doctor's office yesterday. I'm fine. I needed to get something, and he took my gloves, or they asked me to take my gloves off. I put new gloves on, and that made me feel better. I was like, okay, they're really paying attention. Of course, everybody was masked, and there was nobody there when I went to see him. He made sure that there's nobody else in the office, and it's it's interesting.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. First impression. I mean, it's almost like you have a new first impression with your favorite brands again, right? Because you've been loyal, you've been comfortable, but now you're going into a whole new environment that you're resetting your first impression again. If you don't knock it out of the park, or make people feel comfortable, you're ready for a downhill journey. Which
so are you seeing people that have been laid off and furloughed, and some people that have been let go? Are you seeing them come back into industry differently, the same, or leaving the industry, or a little bit of all of it?
That's a really great question. That's a topic we actually wanted to dive into here in Vegas. So I think we talked about this a little bit before, but again, my former colleague Lily and I decided to do our own employee engagement study here in Las Vegas with employees to really understand what's going through the mind. I think we saw.
And I was going to say, what a weird coincidence. We just happen to have some of the results ready to show.
Well, look at that.
And you know what? I didn't ask that question. No,
I know you didn't know it at all.
I had forgotten. I had forgotten. I read this. So it's good when I start losing my memory.
All right, so I got to tell you, this concerns me a lot, what I'm seeing here right now, because we've been having a lot of executives on our show day after day, week after week, and they've all been working really hard to make their employees feel like they're cared about and feel like they're being engaged in the process. But you're not seeing that when asking employees, it seems.
But Craig, before you answer that, I'm going to give you my my Monday morning quarterback here.
All right.
Massive decisions had to be made in massive ways. Great
context.
Yep.
There is almost impossible for me to lay off 90% of my team and them feel warm and cuddly about me.
Right. That's so true. That's a really great point.
Yeah, but what's interesting is when you actually dive into the verbatim comments and the insights and the learnings, right? I think just as the customer has some forgiveness around what's happening right now, I think in the back of the minds of the workforce in general, they understand that businesses also have to make decisions. However, it's how you manage me and it's how you treat me and it's how you communicate, frankly, was the number one takeaway. How you communicate with me through this whole process, right? So Glenn, back to your point, 32% of employees feeling that their employer cared about them, to me, is heartbreaking. Especially in our industry where human touch and personal engagements drive our business, right? And make this, what it is. When you break that down, frankly, it was not necessarily directly based on the companies that paid employees through all this or not. It was the companies that communicated, even if there wasn't an update to share. Hey, my manager called me this week. They've been calling me weekly just to check in, even if there's nothing to share, and I feel connected still to my organization versus just, pushed off to the side for the moment. That was the biggest driver of that. And then, with the lack of communication, even on updates of what's happening, for me as an employee, that's where you get this metric down at the bottom of 43% of surveyed employees felt their employer is prepared to welcome guests back. Well, to me, it's a no-brainer that if you didn't do a great job communicating with your employees through this process on their wants and needs, there's absolutely going to be a gap of how they perceive your readiness as an employer to bring people back.
So let me ask you a question. Where in your career have you been given real training and certification on communications? Tell me the day and the time and send me the certificate. Did you get one?
It's a gap. It's a huge gap out there.
I'm asking you, did you get one?
No, I didn't.
Right. And that's the problem. The problem is you have leaders in positions that don't know the first damn thing about communication, whether politically or management. The only reason you have survived and I have survived in this industry is because we're very, very, we can't even stay in our house. Like you said, you can't even stay in your house. We're the guy that you don't want us to work for you if you don't want our opinion, because we're a little bit crazy. And we're going to communicate how you're treating us. And we're going to communicate what we think the right thing to do is. But 90% of people don't. And then they have managers that don't. And that's now, whether it be politically or in management, is what's happening. That, to me, that a company right now is not communicating to their team immediately every week, even if they have nothing to say but happy birthday, how are you, and how's your beard. It is absolutely, it's crazy. Chris is on our show twice a week, and he communicates to his team and his people every single day.
Right. He's talking about Chris Green, CEO of Chesapeake Hospitality.
That's impressive.
So to me, it's because not so much the culture, it's a culture of not training. I've said all the time in my career, the number one problem, the reason that housekeepers are upset with the front desk and the front desk is upset with sales, and sales is upset with revenue management, and the general manager is upset with everybody, is because nobody's communicating the right way. Well, I wrote him an email. Okay, I don't read emails very well. Well, I called him on the phone. I said 70 pounds of bananas, not 20 pounds of bananas. Did you write it? Did you send it? And did you follow up? So
I think
it's the biggest thing that we have in business.
I think training is important, but I would also add one other piece to that too, is if it's not in your core DNA as a senior leader of an organization, small, big, whatever it is, to care about and know that the data surrounding the voice of your employees carries significant value, right? You can just in your mind correlate the fact that unhappy employees mean that my floor is going to be a disaster for the customer.
Right.
If you don't have that just core mindset and you're willing to look at employee data and understand that something has to be done with it in order to actually drive results, if you haven't grown up with a leader who's instilled that in you, because again, I don't think that gets taught either. Really trying to make sure that you're honing in on the employees, you understand what the employee sentiment is, and you do something about it. We have a lot of data points, but data without action means nothing, and that's a challenge. So there's a lot of leadership gaps in understanding, why the employee base should be focused on and should be invested in, and what that means for the business and revenue and loyalty in the long run. It's a big deal.
I agree with you more.
It's a really big deal.
I agree with you more.
I agree with you 10% more than Anthony agrees with you.
But like in the military, all that training and all that preparation is so when you do go and you have challenges, whether it be war or just a challenge, you're not thinking about how do I communicate. You know how do you communicate. You know how your lieutenant's supposed to communicate to you and your commander, and you understand the chain of command. You understand how when shit hits the fan. The problem in business is we're never worried about when shit hits the fan. We're worried about making sure the shit doesn't hit the fan. Well, you know what? You should worry about it so you're prepared for it, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. It was interesting talking to employees as I did the Winnebago tour, as you'll call it. Talking to some of the dealers and some of the casinos that reopened. I mean, they were extremely passionate. The team members just couldn't wait to get back onto the floor. You could just feel their passion for, providing experiences for people. The other thing that we've got to think about, and Glenn, excited to hear you're coming to Vegas and can't wait to get your take on what this looks like. But, in an industry where we have personal conversations and interactions and we drive that through our business core, dividers, plexiglass partitions, masks make it even harder now to communicate effectively with people. And sitting at a table, and Anthony, you'll appreciate this, being a table guy. You're sitting there putting your head around the plexiglass saying, what'd you say? What'd you say? Because you're talking into plastic on both sides. So figuring out ways that we can, engage people socially through all this as well is going to be unique, because the employees are hungry to do it. They're hungry.
Right. So for me, it'd be perfect because there'll be plexiglass, everybody wear a mask, and I'm 50% deaf. So it's going to be perfect.
It's true. It was a real issue that we're going to have to sort through and figure out.
That's
right.
I wonder if there could be microphones somehow around the table that nobody sees to amplify the sound.
Oh, they're already there, but they're probably to catch cheating or something like that is my guess.
It's the eye in the sky.
Right.
So based on that survey, and just what is the feeling of just your run-of-the-mill, if they're run-of-the-mill, executive that's not working right now in Vegas? To get back to my point, are they doubling down on hospitality? Are they trying to invent themselves to take advantage of hospitality in a good way? Or are they say, I'm out of Dodge, I'm leaving, I'm gone?
I think there's always, you've got folks in both those camps, in my opinion, right? There's folks who leave that way. I think the general majority of what I'm hearing and seeing is folks looking to reinvent themselves, the business, doing whatever's necessary, going all in on, creating new experiences or new opportunities for people. I think genuinely, in the hospitality industry, we've always had to be innovative and think on our feet, especially as, crises and challenges happen. Our job's always been to make our customers and our guests feel welcome and comfortable through even tough times. And I think you're seeing that amplified right now as folks are hungry to get open. They're hungry to provide experiences. And for those that may not be working at the moment, I think you see folks who are trying to reinvent themselves in new ways to pick up a new skill set, a new way of looking at the business, and add value somewhere. I think everyone wants to add value is the exciting part.
Right. And it was very important to me and Glenn. That's why we started the show. Have you been watching our shows at all, buddy?
Of course I have.
Don't ask him any specific questions.
Being the hotel guy, did you see Horst Schulze?
I have not. It's on my list to watch. I know I saw that was done. I haven't seen it yet.
Best interview I've ever done in my career. And it's funny. I just want to get this up before I forgot. You and I, last time we saw each other, I was in Vegas the last time. You were busy, I was busy, and we're both very A-type personalities. So I played it back in my head, watching us say hello to each other in the lobby of, I believe it was the Aria.
Yeah.
And we both looked like we were high on crack. And like we were like, hey, how are you? Good. Where you go? Where you go? Hey, I know you're here. I'll see you later.
That's really weird because I know you guys are both high on meth.
But do you remember that interaction?
No, I totally do. You didn't even tell me you were coming, and I run into you randomly at Aria. I was like, what the heck? I was also shocked that you didn't text me, by the way. So
I apologize. And you're right.
Busted.
You're right. I'm wrong, and there's nothing to it.
It's all good, man. I'm giving you crap.
No.
But you did come out. You did come out and host our guest speaker for the Nevada Hotel Lodging Association Gala last year.
I'm still having problems with your outfit.
If you
it's Vegas, man.
Yeah. So what?
Glenn has nothing to say now.
No, I have lots. I got some questions. I'm sure I want to put the train back on the rails and get us moving forward.
Let me ask a question. Hold on. Let me ask
Oh,
how
God.
many times a show do you have to put me back on the rails?
I think it's easier to count the times I don't. I'm just kidding.
But that's so funny. Me asking you that question, you literally would have like this.
All right, but seriously, when we were looking at that, the survey results that you were saying, you could see it as negative, but let's flip it and say, oh, there's lots of opportunity to make changes right now to better engage our employees, to better create a scenario where there's mutual love and respect going back in a more meaningful way. What do you think people can do in order to envision that and then turn that into a reality?
That's a great point. And first off, our intent was never to surface the negative dialogue, right? Even on our infographic, it's how you're going to bridge the gap. I think we just wanted to call attention to, you have employees who are out there who are hungry for a hug, hungry for just, the compassion. It's interesting. I think, the intent was we wanted every organization to just, hit the pause button for 2 seconds and think, okay, how have I done? Am I a part of the 32% or am I not? And if I am, what can we do? What else can we do? What other strategies can we put in place as we reopen that we can, bring that back? It's interesting talking to a lot of folks who are going into the reopening plans. I think there's a lot of companies that are doing, you're going back into work and you're being, hey, don't forget your office is to the left and forget, go water your plant. It's probably needing water because you haven't seen it in 3 months. Versus, using this as a very unique opportunity to celebrate our team members coming back, to have there's a former colleague of mine, friend in Vegas, Donald Bowman, who is the former GM of the Mandarin Oriental here, and he's been talking about hosting reunions.
Donald, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, I owe you an email. He's doing a consultancy now, and I've been meaning to get him back on the show.
So you were saying
he's a good guy.
So you were saying I didn't get what you said because my co-host interrupted you.
I get a theme here. I get this as a theme. Donald's been doing a great job having a dialogue about hosting reunions for people coming back to work, right? And don't make the first day of coming back to work a go water your plant. Make it a celebration. Make it a recognition event to thank people for A, what they're going to be dealing with when they get back, but B, riding out the storm, frankly. And I think that's brilliant.
So one story, you don't have to name the hotel, one story the way you think they're doing it right, like you're hearing things from the employees that like, wow, they're really doing it right.
I'm going to name the hotel because frankly I think they deserve the credit and the recognition. I think the Wynn here in Vegas has been the poster child for how to do this right, and from the very beginning, by the way. And I think also Sands Corporation gets a very close second, almost tied, but I think the Wynn just went a little further over the edge here.
Well, I think they were in it first, and Maddox was out front putting out those videos first. But both those casino companies took care of their employees, I think, through the entire way, right?
Yep, they did. Both those companies did, and you know, the Sands even started paying employees of third-party restaurants that worked in the building.
Right. And then, so explain what that means. We took care. They took care of their payroll, their health benefits, full.
Yeah, I mean, they all stayed on the payroll through the entire down period, which, you know,
phenomenal.
Not every company's positioned to do that, and I completely understand that, right? However, the other things that the Wynn did, not just paying employees, but their transparent communication to customers. They were the first to throw out their very transparent reopening plan. They were just ahead of the game when it came to being prepared and just communicating with people what to expect. Here's what we're doing. Here's what it looks like. Their communication strategy, frankly, I thought was brilliant.
And I want to ask you who you think is doing it wrong, or we'll leave that alone. But
we're going to leave that alone because I think everyone can learn from what's out there. And I even use Delta Airlines as another great example of who has knocked this out of the park. Here's a brand I've been infatuated with.
Me too.
You know, I only fly Delta, and they now have to, you know, they're showing you videos of how they're actually cleaning the airplanes, right? Their CEO has been out on the forefront having dialogue with people. I think they've done it. The Wynn, Delta, they've done incredible jobs of just transparently communicating, and that's what makes them stand out.
And that's absolutely critical. And hiding is not an option. And when Glenn and I decided to do the show, what we're going to talk about, I don't know. Let's call people. Let's figure it out. Action, go.
Yep.
You and I have had no conversation of what we're going to talk about. It's like all we want is we want to be transparent and we want communication. And what you did, when I saw you in I'll call it your Winnebago tour, I laughed my ass off. I was like, of course he is, because he's that guy. You know, he's that guy. He's the guy that is going to figure it out, and he's going to get in the Winnebago, and he's going to talk about it. And he's going to remember that when he's 90, and you're going to be the first one to do it. And unfortunately, I may not make it out to Vegas, so I was supposed to go with Glenn. And I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be the guy that was there the day Vegas reopened. And unfortunately, we're going to have Glenn out there instead of me.
Yeah,
that's
really.
Right.
Anthony continues to make a lot of bad decisions by sending me instead.
Well, Glenn, I'm going to miss you, unfortunately, because I think there's a lot of folks who are going to be here for reopening. I actually, because of the Winnebago tour, I now have a couple different businesses reaching out, asking to have me pop in and actually highlight some of the things that they've done to reopen, and they're very proud.
So has the survey worked? The survey and the Winnebago tour?
Yeah, it's gotten attention. I think the whole goal was to open people's minds, and I think again now these couple organizations have reached out saying, "Hey, can you come do a video on? You know, we're really proud of we implemented XYZ. You want to come see it?" So I'm flying out to San Diego on tomorrow actually to visit with a couple businesses out there. I'm going to fly. I'm going to do a whole kind of cruising through COVID on the airline experience.
Glenn's going to do too.
All right, we'll have competing videos tomorrow.
No, let's just share the insights. I bet we both see different things. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. See, sharing is caring, Glenn. And
it sure is.
I'd like to hire you personally to go to Glenn's barbecue and pool area.
The Hausman Resort Barbecue, Pool Club, and Smokehouse.
Yes, to see if he's social distancing properly.
That's awesome. We'll send some folks over to check it out.
I actually put down taped grids, but typically everybody wants a social distance for me anyway, so it's never a problem.
So by the power in your voice and by your mannerisms, I think I know the answer to this. But a year ago when you and I talked about you taking a chance to do this, and I think hopefully you remember me giving you the big, like, dude, it's, like, you have to do it. I think you need a lot of prodding. Best decision in your life?
It's been extremely rewarding, just not only from a business standpoint, but intellectually. It's challenged me. It's made me think outside the box. When you start working on your own, it's a completely different mindset for being an executive inside of a large organization. So I'll tell you, and then having the opportunity to go into multiple different organizations who are vastly at different places of their journey, and be able to pick up something from it. You're learning at the same time that you're helping others learn. And coaching them through operations and opportunities. It's been brilliant. It's been a lot of fun.
As a person that's done it, I know Glenn's done it. I tell you, it's definitely stressful, but it's a good kind of stress. The bad kind of stress is working for a bad boss. You know how many times I tried to fire myself, but I just couldn't do it because I'm such a nice guy. I'm like, you're fine.
Hey.
But I'm such a nice guy. At the end, I know I work for a nice guy.
Yeah.
That's true. That is absolutely true. All right, Greg, let's wrap this segment up. How can people find you? How can people engage you? All that good stuff.
Yeah, you bet. Our website, experiencestrategyassociates.com. I've got all of our contact information on there. You'll see some of the former colleagues that I've roped in to be strategic advisors with us. That's probably the best place. Kind of hard managing all the other social media. I'm also on LinkedIn, Greg J. Chase. But happy to connect. Happy to.
And if you'll have me, I'll be one of your advisors. Unless you don't want to give me a job, because that seems to be the theme today.
Dude, I'll sign you up. And I know I sent you an email today about getting you on. I'm doing some virtual fireside chats with folks. Would love to. Let's get it scheduled and continue some dialogue. It'd be great.
I'd love to, my brother. Well,
awesome.
And Glenn, if
yes, sir.
Be safe and have fun, my brother.
Greg, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. I'm sorry I won't get to see you, but have fun in San Diego. Woo! Another great show.
Why have I been waving the last couple of times?
I don't know. Hi, great to see you, Anthony.
So how frustrating? Let's do a little, let's do a little review of Anthony and Glenn. How difficult is it to work with me to get a word in edgewise?
Sometimes it's really, really tough. Sometimes I do it and I think I'm going to be successful. Then you get angry at me for interrupting you. And other times it works out really great. So I don't know. It depends. Sometimes you get on a roll, right? So, you just kind of go with it.
You got to let it go, right?
Yeah. On this show, since I ran the first part, since you were unable to make it for the beginning part, I felt like I got all my words out for the day.
He's a really smart guy, and he's
love Jay.
And both of them, and that they're both really, really smart. Jay is there is not enough time for me to discuss how critically important I think Jay is to our community. He doesn't have the name recognition that an Arnie Sorensen has, but he should, because he is that good. But he's not a guy that really looks for the spotlight, even though he's in a band. He's one, again, seeing him in a small office in one of these not great hotels back 30 years ago, I remember sitting there going, dude, really? This office, this hotel? Like, really? And I remember saying to myself, and dude, he literally, I know he has a team around him, he has a great owner, but he put that place on his shoulders and he moved it. It was great.
That's awesome. All right. So let's wrap this up. Don't forget, if you want to play poker with Anthony, hey, drop us a line, pokerwithanthony@gmail.com. We've moved that to Wednesday, June 10th. June 10th, 8 p.m. Anthony is going to be shaking his head with disbelief that you beat him because you guys are so much better. Also, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. You know what to do by now. Text the word hotel to 66866. That's hotel to 66866. And also, Anthony, get some success, maybe some hospitality success.
Go to hospitalitysuccess.com or Hospitality Success on Facebook and find more about our company. See you, Glenn. Be safe out there.
All right. Guys, be safe out there. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on, and
thanks for checking in.